Welcome to Talkpoint. In debates about trade and the economy, tariffs are often presented as a simple solution. The idea sounded straightforward. Impose duties on imported goods, protect local industries, save domestic jobs, and reduce trade deficit. But the reality is far from complicated, and in many cases, it does not match the political promise. Recent studies and real-world examples show that tariffs often raise costs for consumers at home. For instance, US tariffs on washing machines about added nearly on $1.5 billion to consumer expenses in a single year, while creating only around 1,800 jobs. That means each new job came at an extraordinary cost, highlighting how protectionist measures can backfire. Economists agree that in practice, the burden of tariffs falls largely on domestic buyers, not on foreign procedures. Importers typically pass the added expense directly onto our customers, driving up prices in the grocery aisle, at the car dealership, and even in pharmaceutical supplies. Meanwhile, US exporters are often hit by retaliation. Farmers, automakers, and other industries that rely on overseas markets face reduced demand when other nations respond with their own tariffs. This tit-for-tat approach disrupts supply chains, squeezes business, and in many cases reduces employment instead of persevering it. The effects also ripple through global politics. Trade tensions with China, Europe, and India have already encouraged new alliances within the global south. Nations like Brazil, Russia, and India are strengthening partnerships outside of US and European markets. That shift has long-term consequences for American influence in global state and trade. Even in advanced industries, tariffs create uncertainty. Sudden duties on semiconductors or defense-related goods raise production costs and discourage investment. Business leaders warn that unpredictable policies, sometimes described as roving or shifting enforcement, make it harder to plan for the future. Despite these challenges, some sectors do show resilience in the Eurozone. In the Eurozone, business activity recently gained pace even as the tariffs increased, though export order remains weak. In the United States, investment in equipment has rebounded, but economists caution that much of this reflects inflation-driven costs rather than new demand. The debate over tariffs is not new, but today it is shaping economics in a ways that stretch far beyond national borders. Supporters argue that by time for local industries to adapt. Critics warn that the hidden cost, higher consumer price, trade retaliation, and slower global growth undermine the very goals tariffs are meant to achieve. As the world resistes its approaches to trade, one fact stands out: tariffs are not a silver bullet. They may protect certain industries for a time, but they rarely deliver the broad economic benefits promised. Instead, they often leave consumers paying more, business navigating uncertainty, and global governments caught in cycles of retaliation. For policymakers and the public alike, the question remains: is the price of tariffs worth the protection they claim to offer? Thanks for watching Talkpoint. If you found this update informative, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for the latest coverage of events shaping the Middle East and global news.